John Cena said 2025 was the end. He tapped out to Gunther, left his gear in the ring, and walked away for what was supposed to be his final goodbye. But that story may have just changed. Cena has now posted a video on X, confirming he's heading to WrestleMania, and it doesn't sound like it's just for a host role. His wording strongly suggests he could step back into the ring again, completely changing everything we thought we knew about his retirement. So let's break down what he said, what it really means, and why this WrestleMania return could be way bigger than anyone expected. On March 30th, 2026, John Cena posted a video on his official X account, confirming he will be in attendance at WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas, Nevada. In the video, he sat in sunlight, opened with a joke. "Ah, retired life in the sun. I'm kidding." And then explained he was filming a Netflix movie called One Attempt Remaining. He pointed out that Hollywood is close to Vegas, and then he delivered the line that shook everything up. The rumor around this town is, WrestleMania needs a host. Well, I'm already on that road, so I will see you at WrestleMania. WWE followed up by making an announcement on their socials, writing, "Las Vegas, are you ready? The GOAT John Cena will be the host of WrestleMania 42. The confirmation landed. The 48-year-old 17-time world champion was coming back to the biggest show in professional wrestling, 3 months after retiring. Now, the key word here is host. While not appearing as an in-ring competitor, Cena will be returning this time as a host for the promotion's biggest annual show. He will not be lacing up the sneakers. He will not be wearing the jorts. In fact, when he announced his retirement back in 2024, Cena confirmed that he had 3 self-imposed rules he intended to stick to. In the event he came back to WWE in some capacity, Cena said he would be sporting a suit rather than his trademark jorts, and was adamant he would not serve as a special guest referee, or end up involved in some kind of physicality. So on the surface, this is just a hosting gig. And yet, the whispers have already started. While Cena's role is officially as host, fans are already speculating about whether he could get physical. That speculation does not come from nowhere. It comes from a very specific history. When Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson hosted WrestleMania 27, he ended up in a confrontation that set up one of the biggest matches in WWE history. That confrontation with The Miz and John Cena himself at WrestleMania 27 led directly to The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania 28, a match marketed as once in a lifetime. And then they did it again at WrestleMania 29. So when WWE puts a retired legend in a hosting role, there is precedent for it becoming something more. And there is another thread here. Just 10 days before the WrestleMania hosting announcement, Cena was at MegaCon Orlando. In a recent appearance at MegaCon Orlando 2026, Cena revealed that he believed he had cracked the code. Regarding what his new role in the company will be, he told the crowd he was working diligently to try to figure out my next path as a contributing useful member of WWE, and said that if the stars align and everyone signs off, he would be a whole lot more integrated in the system. That language, more integrated in the system, is extremely deliberate. From someone as careful with words as Cena, it does not say sitting backstage. It does not say doing interviews. It says integrated. Now, to understand why these words carry so much weight, you have to understand how Cena's retirement actually played out, because this was not some quiet exit. John Cena announced at Money in the Bank in July 2024 that 2025 would mark the end of his legendary storied career, embarking on a retirement and farewell tour. It was unprecedented. No wrestler of Cena's stature had ever given 15 months of advance notice, and then spent a full calendar year working a farewell schedule. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer confirmed the run would feature 40 dates across 35 different markets during 2025. City-specific merchandise, final matches in markets that mattered, commemorative t-shirts for each stop. The scale of the operation was enormous, and the retirement tour itself was a wild ride. It had soaring highs and confounding lows. At the Elimination Chamber in Toronto on March 1st, 2025, Cena won the Elimination Chamber match, cementing himself a main event bout against Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. But what happened next was the shock. Cena turned heel on Cody Rhodes at the Elimination Chamber, shocking the professional wrestling world. The man who had been the ultimate good guy for nearly 2 decades, the face of hustle, loyalty, respect, the guy who granted over 500 Make-A-Wish wishes, turned bad. Fans had wanted this for over a decade. And finally, at the tail end of his career, WWE pulled the trigger. Heading into WrestleMania 41, Cena's final WrestleMania match was an opportunity for him to make history by becoming the only wrestler in WWE history to secure 17 WWE World Championships. And that is exactly what happened. At WrestleMania 41, Cena defeated Cody Rhodes to win a record-breaking 17th world title. While many fans criticized the match due to slow pacing, poor choreography, and the interference of hip-hop artist Travis Scott, the moment Cena pinned Rhodes to become a 17-time champion was electric. But the heel turn, as momentous as it was, is where things started to fracture. The biggest problem was Cena's failed heel turn early in his retirement tour, and the lack of momentum it created for the rest of his run. The long-term storytelling associated with the turn was non-existent, as WWE creative failed to build shocking alliances, book another betrayal, or lay out a proper redemption arc. Even Cena himself admitted that the heel turn was a failure, saying at Fan Expo Chicago in October that, "I just know I failed. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can learn from failure, right? I went out there and bombed." The heel persona did not stick. On the final pre-SummerSlam SmackDown, Cena came face-to-face with Rhodes and turned babyface. There was no real strong motivator for the turn. Cena simply said he'd lost his way. And just like that, the biggest creative gamble of the retirement tour was undone. He lost the title back to Rhodes at SummerSlam in a street fight. That was intense and memorable, involving kendo sticks, steel steps, and, of course, the announce table. What followed, though, is where the retirement tour found its heart. The second half of 2025 saw Cena running through a greatest hits of rivalries. Cena's final chapter with Randy Orton took place in the Viper's hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, at the Backlash Premium Live event in May 2025. Cena and Punk delivered one of the best matches of Cena's retirement tour. At Night of Champions, he wrestled Logan Paul at Clash in Paris, where he used a Styles Clash as a tribute to other wrestlers. Then came the Brock Lesnar match at WrestlePalooza, which was widely regarded as a disappointment. Even ESPN graded it a CA. And then the crown jewel of the second half, literally. The true highlight of Cena's retirement tour came in October at Crown Jewel, where with no build beyond a social media exchange, Cena met AJ Styles. The two delivered another memorable match that featured tributes to multiple wrestlers, including Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, The Miz, and more. And then there was the accolade that had eluded Cena his entire career. Throughout his career, the one elusive accolade that John Cena had failed to secure was the Intercontinental Championship. That all changed on the November 10th, 2025 episode of Monday Night Raw in Boston, when he defeated Dominic Mysterio to take the title belt. With this victory, Cena became a Grand Slam champion in one fell swoop. A 22-year loose thread tied off just weeks before the end. He lost the IC title back to Dominic at Survivor Series after interference from Liv Morgan, but the moment had been captured. The record books were complete. Then came December 13th, 2025, Saturday night's main event at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. A 16-man tournament had determined Gunther as Cena's final opponent. With Gunther defeating LA Knight in the finals, their match ran 23 minutes and 44 seconds. After Cena put Gunther through the five-knuckle shuffle and hit multiple attitude adjustments, including one for a near fall, Gunther eventually locked in a sleeper hold and Cena tapped out. The 48-year-old went out in a way most wouldn't have expected, marking the first time he had submitted in a match since 2004. The crowd chanted "Thank you, Cena," as Cena sat in the center of the ring, kissed the mat, and said goodbye. The 17-time world champion left his sweatbands and sneakers in the ring and rode off into the sunset. The symbolism was powerful. The sweatbands, the sneakers, the man who made never give up more than a slogan, giving up, tapping out, walking away. It was meant to be final, Cena said before his last match. This has really never been done in WWE history. WWE superstars don't necessarily retire. They always kind of hang on for one more match. I am absolutely 100% done. And that is the part that makes this WrestleMania hosting announcement so fascinating. Because in professional wrestling, retirement is a word that means almost nothing. Terry Funk retired and came back so many times it became a running joke. Ric Flair had a famous final match in 2008, and then wrestled again in 2011 and even in 2022 at the age of 73. Shawn Michaels retired in 2010 and came back for a tag match in 2018. The Undertaker had his supposed farewell at WrestleMania 33, and then wrestled for 3 more years. In this business, I'm done is never really done. Cena vowed throughout his retirement tour that December 15th represented his last match, and that he would not wrestle again once the year was over, despite the tendency for high-profile wrestler retirements to be impermanent throughout the history of the business, and his words have been consistent. He's been clear. He's been emphatic. But then again, so was everyone else who came back. 4 days before his retirement match, Cena revealed on December 9th, 2025, that he would be signing a 5-year contract extension that would allow him to remain in WWE as an ambassador. He told Tom Rinaldi that the ambassadorial role could include letting more people know to watch this, which was my goal in the first place, and maybe mentorship to talent I wouldn't spend time with, where I can sit and be like, who are you really? That sounded like a behind-the-scenes transition, a graceful step back. Scouting, mentoring, promoting, the kind of work that keeps a legend tied to the company, without the physical toll of performing. But then MegaCon happened, and those words about being more integrated in the system happened. And now a hosting role at WrestleMania happened, and the distance between I'm 100% done and I'll see you at WrestleMania is shrinking fast. Now let's look at the practical side of this. As the host of WrestleMania, a show he has main evented 6 times, Cena will announce the attendance record on both nights and is expected to be involved in various segments. Previous hosts include The Rock, The Miz, Hulk Hogan, Rob Gronkowski, The New Day, and Alexa Bliss. Those are vastly different levels of involvement. Hulk Hogan showed up and waved. The Rock showed up and ended up physically involved in the main event. Which direction Cena goes matters enormously, and there is a reason WWE may want him more visible than usual. To date, the company is quoted as having sold around 40,000 tickets to each night of WrestleMania 42. By contrast, WrestleMania 41, which took place in the same venue last April, drew announced crowds of 58,538 on night 1 and 60,103 on night 2. That is a significant gap with less than 3 weeks to go. While the 2 currently scheduled main events, CM Punk vs. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes vs. Randy Orton, are strong matches, they lack the historical significance of the 2025 headliner. Last year, Cena defeating Cody Rhodes in the main event for his 17th world title was the kind of draw that fills a stadium to its rafters. This year, the card is strong, but there is no singular, transcendent. This is a once-in-a-generation moment match. Adding Cena's name, even in a hosting capacity, injects a jolt of mainstream attention that moves tickets. The event already has several major matches confirmed. CM Punk is set to defend his World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns. Randy Orton will challenge Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. On the women's side, Rhea Ripley faces Jade Cargill, while Becky Lynch goes up against AJ Lee. Other matches include Brock Lesnar taking on Oba Femi and a clash between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. That is a stacked card by any measure, but the X factor is still Cena, and here is the detail that has everyone whispering about whether Cena could end up doing more than just hosting. Gunther seemingly has nothing to do at WrestleMania 42. Perhaps he will take offense to the man he retired getting a role on the show. Think about the storytelling potential there. The man who retired John Cena, who forced him to tap out for the first time in over 2 decades, who took his sweatbands and sneakers and legacy and said goodnight. That man is wandering WrestleMania weekend without a match. And the man he retired is going to be in the building, standing in the ring, addressing the crowd. If Gunther were to interrupt that moment, confront Cena, challenge the idea that Cena gets to be at WrestleMania at all, after what happened in December, that writes itself. Cena does not need to wrestle a full match for this to become an in-ring appearance. All it takes is one interruption, one stare down, or one wrestler deciding to make a name for themselves by stepping to Cena. WWE has used host roles for years as a way to get legends and mainstream stars onto the show without promising a full match. That gives the company flexibility. Cena can appear, talk, interact with talent, and still leave the door open for something physical, without WWE advertising it ahead of time. That is the beauty of this arrangement from a booking perspective. If something happens, it happens organically within the show. If it does not, Cena still got his moment as host, and everyone goes home satisfied. Jelly Roll and IShowSpeed have both shown up in WWE on the road to WrestleMania, and would make for an entertaining segment with Cena in Las Vegas. The celebrity crossover potential alone is massive. This is Vegas. This is the entertainment capital. Cena is one of the most recognizable human beings on the planet, straddling both Hollywood and wrestling. The segments write themselves, whether it is Cena doing a callback to the Doctor of Thugonomics character with a rap segment, or bantering with the current roster, or making an audience of 60,000 people chant, "You can't see me." The hosting role gives him the canvas to paint on, without needing to take a single bump. But, and this is the part that drives the conversation, could he actually wrestle? The physical argument is there. Cena's retirement tour proved that even at 48, the man could still go. An underappreciated element of the retirement tour was the really good technical matches that Cena was able to deliver during his final run. The AJ Styles match at Crown Jewel was praised as one of the best bouts of 2025. The street fight with Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam was brutal and physical. Even the Gunther match, his last, ran nearly 24 minutes and featured Cena hitting all of his signature offense convincingly. His body is not broken. He is not limited by injury. His choice to retire was about wanting to leave on his own terms, not because the ring had beaten him down the way it had so many before him. Cena explained in a later interview on the No Contest Wrestling podcast that he specifically chose December for his final match rather than WrestleMania, because he wanted to give WWE a programming boost during what he described as a slower period between Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble. Even on the way out, he was strategic. He was thinking about the business, and that kind of thinking is exactly what makes his WrestleMania involvement so potentially fluid. If the business needs him to do more than host, Cena is the kind of person who would consider it. And there is a historical wrinkle that makes all of this even more interesting. WrestleMania 42 at Allegiant Stadium will be the second consecutive WrestleMania at Allegiant Stadium. The first time the same venue has hosted back-to-back WrestleManias, since the Atlantic City Convention Hall held WrestleMania 4th in 1988 and WrestleMania V in 1989. The event was originally scheduled for the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, announced by Dwayne Johnson on SmackDown in February 2025. By May 2025, that plan had changed. Las Vegas, coming off the enormous financial success of WrestleMania 41, made a higher bid. This is the same building where Cena won his 17th title just last year. The same ring, the same crowd. The echoes of that night are still in the air. For Cena to walk into Allegiant Stadium, not as a competitor, but as the host, the ambassador, the elder statesman, completes a poetic circle that WWE storytelling thrives on. Some fans, though, are not pleased. On Twitter XOX, some fans responded with confusion or disappointment. The criticism comes from a particular corner of the fan base that believes legends returning too quickly cheapens their exit. One fan's commentary captured the sentiment, arguing that, by handing the hosting duties and the biggest segments to Cena, the company is admitting they haven't successfully built anyone with half his charisma in the last decade. There is a school of thought that WrestleMania should be about the present, about CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and Rhea Ripley, and that bringing Cena back so soon undercuts the roster that is supposed to carry the company forward. It is a fair debate. The counter-argument is that Cena is not taking a match slot from anyone. He is a host. His presence sells tickets. His name gets mainstream press coverage that CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, as compelling as that is to existing fans, simply does not generate. For the wider public, Cena is one of those rare figures who transcends the wrestling bubble. When John Cena does something in WWE, TMZ covers it, ESPN covers it. People who have never watched a wrestling match in their lives know who he is. That kind of visibility has tangible value when you're trying to fill a 61,000-seat stadium for 2 consecutive nights. Cena's marriage to Shea Shariat-Zadeh was cited as an inspiration for his decision to step away from the ring. In addition to one attempt remaining for Netflix, He is also known for the Peacemaker series on Max and has signed a 5-year ambassador deal with WWE. His life is full. His schedule is packed. And yet here he is, 3 months after leaving his boots in the ring, voluntarily walking back into the arena that defined the peak of his career. So where does all of this leave us? John Cena is officially hosting WrestleMania 42. He has said repeatedly and publicly that he will not wrestle again. He set 3 rules for himself: no jorts, no refereeing, no physicality. He signed an ambassador deal that was meant to be his bridge into a post-ring career. But he also said he has cracked the code on a new role that would make him more integrated in the system. He is going to be standing in the ring at Allegiant Stadium on April 18th and 19th, in front of tens of thousands of fans, and Gunther, the man who retired him, has no match on the card. Professional wrestling is built on moments that nobody sees coming. That is the business. That is what Cena built his legacy on. The question is not whether Cena can still wrestle. He proved that all year long in 2025. The question is whether the moment presents itself at WrestleMania 42 in a way that is too perfect to resist, whether someone, Gunther or anyone else, forces Cena's hand in front of 60,000 people in a building where he made history 1 year earlier. Whether the man who said, "I am absolutely 100% done," finds himself in a situation where never say never applies, because in this business, it always does. The road to WrestleMania just got a lot more interesting, and John Cena, retired, hosting, suited up and microphone in hand, might just be exactly where the story needs him to be.